Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to Big Bear Fishing. So I'm doing something today that I have not done in forever. That's a Fishing Story Friday. I used to do these all the time, so a lot of the OG subscribers will remember these, but I used to have a lot of fun with them. I just haven't had any like amazing stories to tell. But recently Ezra and I were saltwater fishing. That's my 13-year-old that goes fishing with me all the time, and he hooked into something and it took off. We were saltwater fishing. Just in case I didn't mention that, we were saltwater fishing, and he was fishing just a regular like jig head, and it had the foil tail on it, and he's sitting there and he's kind of like reeling it in and like popping it and stuff, and all of a sudden like he's setting the hook, but like when he's sitting there holding it, it was like it just wasn't moving. So I thought he was hung up, which is weird. Like where we were fishing, you don't normally get hung up, but I mean the tide was coming in, so anything could happen. It could have been like a log or something getting flushed in, because we're pretty close to the inlet, so anything that like, and that's a lot of current coming in, so it moves some stuff. But he is sitting there and I'm like, are you sure you're not hung up? And he's like, no, it's a fish. And you know, then I could like kind of see, you know, your rod tip starts going like that, like when you're fighting a catfish or something, and it's just weight. So then it like what it actually was like didn't go through my head at first. So then he's fighting it. Well, then it starts to run and his drag is just bzzz. And of course I didn't have my camera, my GoPros with me. I had my phone with me, and I got some pictures which I'll show you if you stick around to the end of the video. But he is like fighting this thing, and then it hit me what it possibly was, a stingray. So we're sitting there and we're like, well, you know, maybe it's a stingray. It's definitely not a shark, because it didn't just go bzz, it just didn't take off. So he's fighting it, his arms are getting tired. He asked me to take over because it took us around there's like a seawall, and it took us around the seawall, and I was worried that the braid was going to rub against that like a barnacle or something and then just snap, and we had a lot of line out. The thing was probably made all together, which I know is not a lot for like y'all that do like sailfish and stuff like that, but it probably, or GTs especially, it probably stripped off about 80 yards just like that. But he finally got it to stop, and I think what it did was it was going, and then it just kind of like settled down to the bottom and then just sat there. So I took over, started, you know, just pulls, gain a little bit, pull, gain a little bit, pull. Finally got it in and got it pretty close. He took over again, and because you know it's his fish, I was just helping him, and I wanted him to land it, and he wanted to land it so he get the glory. But we get it in there, and finally, while he's holding it, and it's about probably like 10 to 15 yards away, I walked up around on the bank on the beach, and walked up around, and I saw it, and I could tell it was a good size one. So then we strategized and we figured out how we were going to get it in and stuff. And what we did was ultimately we just like pulled it up and got it up on the beach. Thankfully a boat went by, threw off some waves, and the waves actually, you know, because it's sitting like this, so the wave actually, like while we were pulling it towards the bank, the waves actually like pushed it. So we got it up on the bank. Then I've never landed a stingray before, never caught one. This is the very first one, and it was, I'll show you the pictures, but it was about that big around, and it's just thick, and the tail on it was probably about that long, and you could see the barbs. I mean, they were like that. And I know enough about stingrays, never caught one, but I know that you do not want that tail to tag you anywhere. So I went and I found a stick, held the tail down, and then started trying to get the lure out. And their skin is just, I mean, it's thick. Like it's not like a regular fish where you kind of like just pop the hook out. No, I literally was like holding the tail down with a stick, which I have a picture of that too. I'm holding the fish down, or the stingray's tail down with a stick, and I'm sitting there with my pliers trying to pop the hook out. But it was an ordeal. And then if that wasn't, here, I'll show you pictures of that real quick. If that wasn't enough, I was actually fishing a paddle tail, and I'm fishing in it, and I got a hit, And this was high tide. The tide's coming in, it's getting into the evening, low light conditions. So the stingrays are coming out, and guess what else is coming out? That's right. I set the hook, and all of a sudden the water about probably 10 feet around just erupts. I mean, just massive. I'm in shock. You know, I did set the hook on something, which felt like I got hit by a fish, and all of a sudden we see a dorsal fin come out of the water. And at first I was thinking it was a dolphin. I actually told Ezra, I said, I'm pretty sure I hooked a dolphin. And he's like, what? He looks over, and that's when the dorsal fins come out. He goes, that's a shark. It was probably, I would say it was a bull shark. We identified the dorsal fin online, or I did. It was probably about 9 feet long, I would say, probably 8-9 feet long. That's how big it was. So we're sitting there, and we were just in shock. It was absolutely, we were just in shock. It was crazy. But yeah, so that was the Fishing Story Friday. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time. Take care.